Britain's embassy in Beijing is one of the UK's biggest. You can't miss it. Bright, imposing, and here since 1959. Back then, Beijing was Peking, and China didn't matter much. Now it does, which is why Western leaders want to come here flying their country's flag. When Mr. Cameron and Mr. Clegg posed for this with Tibet's exiled leader, they knew it would irritate Beijing, but it seemed to be a risk worth taking. A year on, no UK minister has been invited to Beijing. With China now the world's second largest economy, that's awkward. It's quite clear there that from within the British embassy here, there is a growing sense of frustration at the lack of visual top-level contact between the two countries. That said, the message we're getting from within the building is that the British are simply not going to jettison their values just for the sake of Chinese business. Chinese investment in Britain is huge. 1/3 of Canary Wharf is owned by the Chinese state, and Heathrow is 10% Chinese. China could help fund a third runway here or a new airport elsewhere. And on the railways too, Chinese money could turn HS2 into a reality, finally.
We need to find the money one way or another, and China seems to be a very natural alternative source of funding to sustain the UK infrastructure development.
And then there's British investment in China. Politicians aside, the Chinese people can't get enough of brand Britain. If their whiskey is made in Scotland and their cars are made in England, they'll sell well. China is now Jaguar Land Rover's biggest market. And there is, according to British diplomats in Beijing who advise their ministers in London, no sense that any of this is at risk because of a political snub.
We have a very important economic relationship with them, but that doesn't mean that we should somehow give up on what we believe in when it comes to human rights and freedoms, which we will continue to express.
Just last month, France's President Hollande had the invitation Mr. Cameron must have hoped for, the first European meeting with the new leaders here. He had the full red carpet treatment. He was here simply to do business, and he did.
History teaches us that the Chinese are extremely pragmatic. So whereas at one level, at the high political level, you can have a pretty frosty relationship, lower down, stuff goes on according to whether it's profitable or not profitable. That would be the normal thing.
The British Embassy and Downing Street say they hope Mr. Cameron will be here by the end of the year. But by saying that, they've made it very awkward if he isn't. Mark Stone, Sky News in Beijing.